Okay, so we have seen some proportioning or dimensioning of cantilever retaining wall. So the minimum depth of your foundation, this should be taken as the minimum depth of your foundation. This should be taken by using this particular formula, that is h minimum is equal to 1 minus sin phi divided by 1 plus sin phi multiplied by q by r, sorry, gamma, q by gamma. So this is the formula which is used for calculating the minimum depth of your foundation. We can take this, we can consider this particular term as coefficient of active earth pressure square q0 by gamma, that is coefficient of active earth pressure multiplied by shape bearing capacity divided by the your unit weight of soil. Okay, so this is the formula which is used for calculating the minimum depth of your foundation. Okay, then we have seen this height of total height of retaining wall, that is if this is your retaining wall. Okay, if this is your retaining wall and this is your GL, this is your GL, and then if this is small h, okay, and this will be h minimum, then this total height h, this will be h minimum plus h minimum plus h. So this is the formula which is used for calculating the height of retaining wall, total height of retaining wall. Okay, then we have base width b. The base width b is calculated, by using some approximation, that is this is the base width capital B, this is the base width capital B, this is the base width capital B, just a minute. Okay, this is the base width capital B. The approximate value for base width is taken as 0.4 h to 0.6 h, that is 0.4 of this total h, that is 0.4 to 0.6 h, 0.4 to 0.6 h. Okay, so this is approximate value which is taken for calculating the base width. Then we have thickness of base slab. This total thickness, it is taken as h by 10 to h by 15. H by 10 to h by 15, we will take arbitrary value of h by 12. In between h by 10 and h by 15, we will take this h by 12 value. Okay, then minimum thickness of your base slab, this should be minimum 300 mm is the limit for your retaining walls. Then thickness of stem, the minimum thickness of stem, if this is your stem, as 0.15 meter, that is 150 mm, whereas this width, base width of stem at the bottom, this is taken as 8 to 10% of your total height, 8 to 10% of your total height. Okay, we have already seen these points in the previous lecture. Okay, now this is the problem which we will be solving for design of cantilever retaining wall. The problem statement is: design a cantilever retaining wall to retain an earth embankment with a horizontal top of 3.5 meter above. Horizontal, the problem states that the embankment is on the upstream side of your retaining wall is horizontal. Okay, and the height is 3.5 meter above the ground level. Density of earth is 18 kilonewton per cubic meter, that is the value of gamma is given here, 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. Okay, sorry, there is, okay, this is kilonewton per cubic meter. Angle of internal friction, the value of phi is given as 30 degree, whereas shape bearing capacity of soil is taken as 200 kilonewton per cubic meter, and the coefficient of friction between soil and concrete is 0.5. The coefficient of friction between concrete and soil is 0.5, and we have to use M20 grade of concrete and Fe415 steel. So this is the problem. Okay, so in your problem, it is given that some retaining wall is there like this, some retaining wall is required to be designed. Okay, some retaining wall is required to be designed. Let us consider this is our ground level. Okay, this is our ground level, and we have to retain some material which is having horizontal embankment. We have to retain some material which is having a horizontal embankment, and the total height of this particular retaining wall above the ground level, this is given as 3.5 meter. We have to design this particular retaining wall. Okay, so this particular part of your retaining wall, this is called as stem. Okay, this particular portion, this is called as base slab. It is called as base slab. Okay, this portion is called as toe projection. It is called as toe projection. Whereas this particular portion, this projection is called as hill projection. It is called as hill projection. Okay, now regarding the dimensioning, okay, this particular width of your stem, this should be minimum 150 mm minimum. Okay, this is the minimum value of minimum 150 mm. This base width of your stem at the base, this should be 8 to 10% of total h. This is your total h, total height of your retaining wall from base of or bottom of base slab to the top of your stem. Okay, this should be 8 to 10% of h. Then the width of your base slab, this should be h by 10 to h by 15. Okay, this total base width, this should be h by 10 to h by 15. We will take this as h by 12. H by 12, whereas the thickness of your base slab, this should be taken as, just a minute, the thickness of your base slab, this should be taken as h by 10 to h by 15. Sorry, there is some mistake. Base width is 0.4 to 0.6 h, and thickness is h by 10 to h by 15. Okay, so this is how we have to first proportionate this and then go for the checking whether this particular retaining wall is satisfying the criteria for moment, then sliding. Okay, like this we have to take 3 checks. Okay, so we'll start with the design procedure. Okay, so this is the problem. Problem is design cantilever retaining wall to retain an earth embankment with horizontal top 3.5 meter above ground level. Density of earth is 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. Angle of internal friction is 30 degree. SBC is 200 kilonewton per cubic meter, and coefficient of friction between soil and concrete is 0.5, and we have to take M20 grade of concrete and Fe415 steel. Okay, so given data is, so we'll start the solution. So given data, we'll write down the given data first. Given data is the total height of retaining wall above GL. Okay, this value is given as 3.5 meter, which is given here. Okay, so this is equal to, let us consider, if this is, just a minute, if this is our retaining wall, let us consider we have a retaining wall like this, we have some retaining wall like this. Okay, we have some retaining wall like this. Okay, this is our ground level, okay, this let us consider this depth, that is top of stem to the ground level. Let us consider this as H2. This is equal to let us consider this is H2. This is equal to 3.5 meter. This is the given value. This is the given value. Okay. Then we have been given the unit weight of your soil mass. This is given as 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. This is H2. Okay, 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. The angle of internal friction. The angle of internal friction is given as 30 degree. Let us consider this as 30 degree. And SBC, that is SBC, shape bearing capacity, is given as, we will indicate it by Q0. So this is given as 200 kilonewton per cubic meter. 200 kilonewton, kilonewton per meter square. 200 kilonewton per meter square, and we have to use Fe415 steel and M20 concrete and M20 concrete. So this is the given data. This is the given data. Okay, and based on this we have to solve this particular or design this particular retaining wall. Okay. Okay, so we'll start the design procedure. Okay, so step number one is to calculate the coefficient of active earth pressure. Step number one is to calculate coefficient of active earth pressure. Okay, so we have seen if the for horizontal backfill, okay, we have the formula, that is Ka, coefficient of active earth pressure, is equal to 1 minus sine phi, divided by 1 plus sine phi, where phi is the angle of internal friction, Okay, now we can see here the backfill is horizontal. Like this. There may be some problem in which the backfill may be inclined. So we have, if the backfill is inclined, then you have to use the formula which is there for calculating the coefficient of active earth pressure for inclined backfill, and the formula is given like this. Okay, the formula for calculating the coefficient of active earth pressure for inclined backfill or sloping backfill is this. Okay, this formula is required to be used if the backfill is sloping or inclined. Okay, sloping or inclined means if this is our retaining wall, if the retaining wall is like this and we are having the backfill like this. Okay, we have to protect or retain some backfill material like this, then we have to use this particular formula. Okay, कुठं होतो आपण? Just a minute. Am I audible ना? Okay, am I audible? Yes. Okay, so we were here. Okay, sorry. If our retaining wall is something like this, that is, it is having some slope like this. Okay, then we have to use this particular formula, that is coefficient of active earth pressure is equal to cos theta minus under root of this particular formula. Okay, I don't read this. So you have to keep in mind while solving the problem, if backfill is horizontal like this, if we have some horizontal backfill like this, okay, then we have to use this particular formula, that is coefficient of active earth pressure is equal to 1 minus sine phi divided by 1 plus sine phi. Otherwise you have to use this sloping backfill formula. Okay, this thing you have to keep in mind because every problem cannot be taken. Okay, then Okay, so this is the formula which is used for calculating the coefficient of active earth pressure, coefficient of active earth pressure. Okay, so we have this phi is equal to 30 degree, we have phi is equal to 30 degree, so 1 minus sine 30 degree, 1 minus sine 30 degree divided by 1 plus sine 30 degree, sine 30 degree. So we get this value as 0.33, 0.33. So coefficient of active earth pressure, coefficient of active earth pressure is coefficient of active earth pressure, coefficient of active earth pressure we have got, that is 0.33. Okay, then let us consider this was step 1a, this was step number 1a. Now step number 1b, minimum depth of foundation. To calculate minimum depth of foundation, minimum depth of foundation. Okay, we have already seen the formula for calculating the minimum depth of foundation, that is y minimum. Let us consider this is y minimum. So y minimum is equal to, the formula is 1 minus sine phi, 1 minus sine phi divided by 1 plus sine phi bracket square multiplied by q0 by gamma. Okay, where q0 is the shape bearing capacity, gamma is the unit weight of soil mass of backfill. Okay, soil mass of your foundation. It can also be written as Ka square, because this term is Ka, that is a coefficient of active earth pressure, multiplied by Q0 by gamma. Okay, so just put the value of Ka here, 0.33. Q0 we have already given value of 200 kilonewton per meter square, and gamma is given as 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. So we get some value, that is y minimum, that is minimum depth of your foundation is calculated as 1.23 meter, 1.23 meter, which is approximately equal to 1.25 meter, 1.25 meter. So we have got this particular value, we have got this particular value of 1.25 meter, that is depth of your foundation is 1.25 meter, and thus we have this h2. Let us consider this as h1, this is equal to 1.25. then total height h, this total height h, this will be equal to 3.5 plus 3.5 plus 1.25 meter, 1.25 meter. So this comes out to be total height h capital, total height capital H, this is equal to 4.75 meter, 4.75 meter. Okay, now step number 2, is preliminary dimension of your retaining walls are required to be fixed. Okay, so step number 2, fixing preliminary dimensions of retaining wall, Okay, so this is the step number 2, and we'll fix one by one. Okay, so if this is our retaining wall, if we have some retaining wall like this, okay, if we have some retaining wall like this, okay, this is our top of backfill material. Okay, this is our GL, this is our GL. Okay, we have this value, we have this value as 4.35. this is H2. we have H1 is equal to 1.25 meter. Okay, so this total depth, this becomes okay, so we get total height h is equal to 4.75 meter, 4.75 meter. Okay, based on these dimensions we have to fix dimensions of other, that is your stem and base slab, stem and base slab. Okay, so this total height is 4.75 meter. Okay, so we'll fix one by one. Okay, first we know that the we have base width of your base slab. Okay, base width of base slab this is given by approximately 0.4 h, 0.4 h to 0.6 h, 0.4 h to 0.6 h. Okay, so this is equal to 0.4. we have value of h as 4.75 meters, so multiplied by 4.75 to 0.6 into 4.75, so this values comes out to be 1.9 meter, 1.9 meter to 2.85 meter. Okay, within this range, if 0.4 we take, it will be 1.9 meter. If we take 0.6 h, then it will be 2.85 meter, 2.85 meter. Let us take some value between this 1.9 and 2.85. will take for 2.5 meter. Let us consider the base width of this base slab. Let us consider it is denoted by b. This comes out to be 2.5 meter, 2.5 meter. So this total width of your base slab, this comes out to be 2.5 meter, 2.5 meter. Okay, then we have to calculate the toe projection. Then the formula for calculating the toe projection, this is equal to 0.3 b. Let us consider this is denoted by bt, so 0.3 into b. Okay, so this is your toe projection. Okay, this is toe projection. Okay, so this width is given by 0.3 b. We have b is equal to 2.5 meter, therefore 0.3 into 2.5 meter, so this comes out to be 0.75 meter, 0.75 meter. So this width comes out to be 0.75 meter. Okay, then we have to calculate the base width of our stem, that is this value. Okay, we have to calculate this particular value. Okay, so base width of stem. Okay, we know that the base width of our stem is taken as 8% to 10% of h, that is total height of your retaining wall, so this is equal to 8%, means we have total height h into 8 by 100, okay, to h into 10 by 100. Within this range we have to take the value of base width of your stem. We have h is equal to 4.75 meter, so 8% is 8 by 100 to 4.75 into 10 by 100. So this values comes out to be 0.38 meter, to 4.75 meter. Okay, approximately we will take base width of your stem, equal to 0.4 meter. Let us take the base width of your stem 0.4 meter. Okay, let us take this value as 0.4 meter. So we have got the base width of our stem. This value is 0.4 meter, 0.4 meter. Now we have to base width of stem. Okay, now we have to fix the top width of your stem. Means this value. Okay, we have to fix the value of this top width of our stem. This top width, this should be minimum 150 mm, this should be minimum 150 mm. So let us take this value as 200 mm. Let us take this value as 200 mm. So we'll consider this top width of your stem as 0.2 meter, 0.2 meter. So take, so top width of stem, okay, assume it is equal to 0.2 meter, it is more than 150 mm, and hence okay, okay. Now width of hill projection is required to be calculated. We have calculated the width of toe projection, but width of hill projection is not yet calculated. Just a minute. Width of hill projection is not calculated, that is width of hill projections means this value, this particular value we have not yet calculated, definitely this value, this will be equal to total width of your base slab minus 0.75, that is this hill projection, minus this 0.4, so this will be, we have base width of base slab, this is 2.5, therefore the width of hill projection, width of hill projection, this is equal to base width of your slab minus width of your toe projection minus base width of your stem. So this is the value will be 2.5 minus 2.5 minus base width projection of toe is 0.75 minus base width of your stem, that is 0.4. so this width of hill projection, this comes out to be 1.35 meter. So we have got the value of base width of toe projection, this is 1.35 meter. Now we have to calculate the thickness of your base slab, that is this value. We have to calculate this particular value or this value. Okay, so the formula for calculating the base width of your base slab, this is base width of base slab, okay, this is given by the formula, base width of your base slab is given by the formula h by 10 to h by 15. Let us consider we will take a value of h by 12. We will take the base width of your base slab h by 12, base thickness h by 12. We have h is equal to 4.75 meter divided by 12. So thickness of base, this should be thickness of base slab, thickness, okay, this should be thickness of base slab. So this thickness comes out to be 0.395 meter, approximately we will take this value as 0.4 meter. So we have got this value is 0.4 meter. Okay, so almost we have fixed all the dimensions of your retaining wall. So we have got your retaining wall like this. Okay, this is our retaining wall, this is our top of embankment. Okay, this is 0.2 meter, this we have got 0.2 meter. Okay, this value, that is base width of your stem, this we got as 0.4 meter. Toe projection, this we got as 0.75 meter. The hill projection, we got this value as 1.35 meter. 35 meter. Okay, and total width of base slab, this is 2.5 meter, this is 2.5 meter. Then we have ground level here, we have ground level here. Okay, this this depth is this depth is 3.5 meter, 3.5 meter, and this depth is 1.25 meter. Okay, and total depth, total height of retaining wall is 4.75 meter, 4.75 meter. Okay, so this is how we have fixed the dimensions of your retaining wall, and now we have to check for the stability of this particular retaining wall. So step number 3, okay, so step number 3 is check for stability. Okay, now we have two types of forces will be there. The first force is resisting force, and the second one is the moment which is developed due to the your earth pressure, that is overturning force. Two forces will be there. The first one is resisting force, and the second one is your overturning force. Okay, so if this is your retaining wall, let us consider this is your retaining wall. Number of forces will be acting on your retaining wall. We will draw this forces which are acting on this retaining wall. Let us consider this is our retaining wall, Okay, so first we will find out which are the resisting forces. Means which will be resisting the overturning moment developed due to the earth pressure acting on your horizontal earth pressure which is acting on the retaining wall. So first pressure will be resisting pressure or resisting force will be the weight of this soil mass, which is acting over this hill portion, this will prevent the overturning. So the weight of this soil mass, let us consider this is shown by W1, and it will be acting at the center or 1.35 by 2. This is 1.35. It will be acting at a distance 1.35 by 2 from the face of this retaining wall. Let us consider this as W1, that is the weight of your soil mass on the hill slab. Then we can divide this particular stem. In two parts, that is your this rectangular portion, and this triangular portion, So let us consider the weight of this rectangular portion is W2. This rectangular portion is W2, and it will be acting at the midpoint between this two okay, that is 0.2 by 2, because we have this width as 0.2 meter. So it will be acting at a distance 0.1 from the face of your retaining wall. Again, there will be some force which will of this triangular portion. Let us consider this as W3. Okay, and again we have one force which is acting or which will be resisting the overturning, that is the weight of this particular base slab. Let us consider this as W4. So four forces will be resisting the overturning, that is W1, weight of your soil mass on this hill portion, Okay, then we have W2, that is weight of your stem, this rectangular portion, Then we have W3, the weight of stem of this triangular portion, and W4, the weight of this base slab, particular base slab. So this will be resisting forces, whereas this particular retaining wall will be subjected to some lateral pressure, which will be acting on this retaining wall from in the horizontal direction, like this. So some lateral pressure will be acting like this. Okay, the intensity of this lateral pressure at the base, intensity of this lateral pressure at the base, this will be gamma h, this will be gamma into h, gamma into h, and the pressure which will be acting due to this lateral earth pressure or active earth pressure, let us consider we denote it by pH. Let us consider the final pressure developed due to this triangular earth pressure, this will consider this as pH. Okay, so this is the pH force, this will cause some overturning, this pH force, this will cause some overturning about this point. Let us consider this point as O point, this point as O point. So this pH will cause overturning, so this is the overturning force, and rest of the forces, that is W1, W2, W3, W4, this will cause the resisting forces, or this will be resisting forces, because about this point these forces W1 will cause some overturning, resisting moment like this, W4 will cause some resisting moment like this, W3 will cause some resisting moment like this, and W2 will be causing some resisting moment like this. Okay, so this is our overturning point, or this is toe point, toe base. Okay, and this is your heel. Okay, so these are the different forces which are acting on this particular retaining wall. First, the weight, self weight of your retaining wall, weight of soil which is retained on the hill portion, and the overturning force, that is this pH force, Okay, these are the various forces which are acting on this retaining wall. Now we will due to this various forces, the retaining wall acting on the retaining wall, we will calculate the distance of these forces, total force which is acting, and moments are produced due to these forces. Okay, so we will draw one table, we will draw some table. Okay, like this. Let us consider particular. Okay, then we have weight in kilonewton, okay. So particular step number 1, okay, W1, that is weight of backfill. Weight of backfill means the weight of this particular portion. Okay, weight of this particular portion, this will be the volume multiplied by weight density of your soil mass, volume multiplied by weight density of your soil mass. So weight W1, this will be equal to, that is weight of your backfill, this will be equal to the volume will be 1.35, the volume will be 1.35, this 1.35, so 1.35 multiplied by height of your height of your soil mass. Okay, so height of your soil mass, this will be 4.35 meter, because if this is your 4.75, this is your 4.75, okay, and this thickness is 0.4, so this height will be 4.35 meter, 4.75 minus 0.4, so multiplied by 1, okay, for unit length, and the weight density of your soil mass is 18 kilonewton per cubic meter. So this comes out to be, let us write here, this comes out to be 105.7 kilonewton, 105.7 kilonewton. Okay, now second W2, WT2 is the weight of this particular stem, rectangular portion of your stem, this we consider as W2, weight of rectangular portion of stem. The weight will be volume of that particular rectangular portion multiplied by unit weight of your concrete, So we have this width as 0.2, we have this 0.2, then we have this particular width as, this will be again 0.2, okay, this will be 0.2, this total width will be 0.4, okay. So W2, this will be equal to 0.2 width multiplied by height is 4.35 multiplied by 1, that is for unit length, multiplied by the unit weight of concrete, that is 25 kilonewton per cubic meter. Okay, these are the standard values, okay. So this comes out to be 21.75 kilonewton. Now third weight which is acting on this particular retaining wall is the weight of this triangular portion, hashed triangular portion. Okay, so this is W3. This will be the area of this triangular portion, multiplied by 1 multiplied by unit weight of concrete. So area of this triangular portion is half into base is 0.2 multiplied by height is again 4.35 multiplied by unit weight of concrete. So this comes out to be 10.88 kilonewton, and fourth resisting force which is acting is W4. W4 is the weight of this particular base slab, or this hatched portion, this is W4. Okay, this is W4. This is equal to the width of base slab, that is this is 2.5 meter, that is 2.5 multiplied by thickness of base slab is 0.4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by unit weight of concrete as 25. So this comes out to be 25 kilonewton. Okay, I will delete this. Okay, now we have to calculate at what distance these forces W1, W2, W3 and W4 are acting from this point O, particular point O, that is this particular point. Okay, or we can say from this particular point, at what distance this W1 is acting. Okay, let us consider this distance is x1. Okay, at what distance this W2 is acting, let us consider this as x2. Okay, at what distance this W3 is acting, let us consider this as x3, and what distance this x4 is acting, let us consider this as x4. Okay, so we have to find out the values of x1, x2, x3 and x4. Okay, so x in meter. Okay, x in meter. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to find out the moment of all these forces W1, W2, W3 and W4 about this point O, about this particular point O. So for calculating that, we need to know the weight of these forces, that is we have already calculated the distance of these forces from this point O. So we will calculate the distance of these forces from point O. So this force W1 is acting at a distance, this force W1, this is acting at a distance, this will be acting at a distance, okay, this is acting at a distance, so this distance will be the total base width of your slab, that is 2.5 minus 1.35 by 2. Okay, so we can write down that here. So this will be equal to 2.5 minus 1.35 divided by 2. So this comes out to be 1.825 meter. Okay, this W2 force is acting, at this particular distance. So this distance will be this distance will be this toe projection plus this width of 0.2 plus CG of this particular rectangular portion. Okay, this will be 0.1 meter, 0.1 meter. Okay, so we get this value. So we get this value is equal to x will be 0.75, that is toe projection, plus 0.4, that is this total width. This total width is 0.4 minus this particular width. This particular width is 0.1 minus 0.2 by 1 or 0.2 by 2 or 0.1 directly you can take. This will comes out to be 1.05 meter, 1.05 meter. Then we have to find out the value of distance of this particular W3, which is acting at some distance from the this point O, this point O. So this will be the width of this toe projection, this distance, plus the CG of action of this W3. Okay, so you can write this. The toe projection is 0.75 plus this particular force will be acting at a distance. This force will be acting at a distance 2 by 3. This particular distance will be 2 by 3 into 0.2, 2 by 3 into 0.2, 2 by 3 into 0.2. So plus 2 by 3 into 0.2. So this comes out to be 0.88 meter, 0.88 meter. And finally W4, this W4 will be acting at a distance 2.5 by 2, 2.5 by 2, 2.5 by 2 distance. Okay, so this will be 2.5 by 2. So this we get this as 1.25 meter, 1.25 meter. So we have got the various forces which are acting on retaining wall. Okay, then we have got the distance of these forces from the point of overturning O. Okay, then we have got the distance of these forces from the point of overturning O. Now we have to calculate the moment developed due to these forces W1, W2, W3 and W4. How we can calculate? Just multiply this weight in kilonewton, just multiply this weight in kilonewton by x distance, so we get the moment which is developed due to this W1 is equal to this 105, just a minute, sorry, okay, so we get this value as 105.7 multiplied by 1.875. So this will be equal to 192.9 kilonewton meter. So this mr, that is resisting moment or moment, this will be 192.9. Then for W2 21.75 multiplied by 1.05. So 21.75 multiplied by 1.05, this comes out to be 22.84 kilonewton meter. Then for W3 we have 10.88 multiplied by this 0.88, this comes out to be 9.61 kilonewton meter. Then for this W4 we get this value as 25 multiplied by 1.25. So total moment will be 31.25 kilonewton meter. 31.25 kilonewton meter. Okay, we'll take summation of all these forces. So summation W, sum this W1, W2, W3 and W4. This will comes out to be 163.33 kilonewton, 163.33 kilonewton. So summation of W is 163.33 and summation of this MR or resisting moment, this comes out to be, just sum this 192.9, 22.84, 9.61 and 31.25. So we get this as 256.6 kilonewton meter, 256.6 6 kilonewton meter. This is your resisting moment. Okay, this is your resisting moment. With this means this will cause the resisting forces against the overturning moments. Okay. Okay, so now we have to calculate the horizontal active earth pressure. So horizontal active earth pressure